welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined once again by one of Wise Take's finest young DFS analysts, our boy, Mr. KamG333. You can find him on Twitter at KamGDFS. That's KamGDFS, not 333. If you go to KamG333, you're going to find some like old dude or something like that. So KamGDFS is the Twitter. KamG333 is the name. Cam, my man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Did you see Paulie in the chat? And now we podcast. I like
Perfect.
that. I like that.
Perfect.
I'm ready to go.
That is awesome, Paulie. That is awesome. And he's right. And now we do podcasts. For those of you that don't know, for those of you like the nation is starting to get real familiar with Cam. Like people are starting to reach out. I noticed your Twitter followers are coming up. People are starting to understand. They got a little taste of it last year, a little more of a taste in basketball, but we all know that your best sport is MLB. So now the nation is starting to come around and they're starting to see Cam. We're putting Cam on everything. There's a podcast, articles. Your stacks article, man, more times than not, it does pretty well. And obviously you cover the GPP article for Cash on Wednesday. So the nation's starting to get familiar with Mr. Cammy Boy here. And I'm excited, man, because you definitely come in. For baseball season, we've had a huge spark, man. It seems like everybody right now is just red hot. We got subs winning. Was it yesterday? One of our subs won $15,000. The day before that, $4,500. We just got some huge momentum right now. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. Did you play tonight? I know you're one of those disciplined cats. You don't play every slate. You're like disciplined.
Yeah, no, I played. I looked at the slate when I got back from work, and I really didn't play all that much. I typically play way more. I made like one lineup, and it's in like 45th right now on like a 392-man tourney. So looks like it's gonna be a decent night, but I didn't really like the slate with the minimal options and stuff on like a three game slate. So I played a little bit. I had like D-backs, and I went Robbie Ray D-back stack paired with like Jesus Aguilar and a couple like Cubs, and looks pretty good right now. So
yeah, no, good, man. I wish
a lot of fun table today.
I wish I could say the same.
This is not a cat mug. This is a Nashville mug that I got. So it is not a cat mug.
Nashville. Come on, John. I see you with a chat. Nashville mug, bro. Correct it. All right. We got ourselves a decent little slate here to talk about. I'm with you, man. I hated this slate. Obviously, got to play it. It's what we do. So I played, and wish I didn't do so hot. I did a lot better on that earlier slate, that 6-game slate that was, didn't do great, but I did a lot better in that one. The second one was a complete shit show. And I took a stance. I was trying to fade the chalk a little too much and ended up burning me a little bit. Also rostered way too many of your Brewers, and definitely should have called you first, Ken. I know that you got a pretty good read on the Brew Crew, but I didn't want to bother you, man. You were busy today. But next time, before I think about playing the Brew Crew against a decent pitcher, we'll say, I'm calling the Cammy Boy. But anyway, man. New slate, new day. Let's go ahead and move on here. I'm excited to talk about with you. This slate actually seems a little bit better. There's not a ton. I took a little bit of a look. There's not a ton of like obvious pitching choices. We got Lance McCullers, who we'll talk about. I think he's the most expensive, at least on DraftKings. But like everybody else, like you got Maeda, but it's against the Giants. Like there's no like dominant. There's no DeGrom or Syndergaard or any of that. We have Carrasco pitching, but he's not on the main slate because he's pitching at 4 o'clock Eastern. So, and it's also the first day that the first game for Coors Field. But of course, that is also not on the main slate. It's also an early game. So for now, I'll take it. It's one more day. We don't have to worry about the Coors BS. So I'll take it.
Yeah,
but
exactly right.
Let's start off with what's been kind of the mini Coors. Kevin Gausman of the Baltimore Orioles visiting CC Sabathia, the lefty from the New York Yankees. The total here is 9.5, and the Yankees are $1.75 home favorite. What you got here, Cammy?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting spot if you're looking to get contrarian at pitcher. Everyone is going to look at Gausman's last start, and obviously struggled really bad. Hold on a sec. Let me pull up these DraftKings prices and FanDuel prices. But he struggled really bad, and I think that's going to definitely make a lot of people off of him tomorrow. And now he gets a matchup against the Yankees where no one is going to pitch Gausman tomorrow. And if we get news, there's one set of news that I need to be able to pull the trigger on Gausman, and that's if Joseph is catching tomorrow. If he is, I think Gausman is a really good option. With Joseph catching, he throws a majority of his splitter rather than like his fastball, and that allows a lot of guys to chase, and he gets his high strikeout numbers and everything like that. And this is obviously a Yankees team that can strike out. Looks like it's going to be like 50 degrees tomorrow, wind slightly blowing out, but not huge. They struggled today a little bit, and Judge is on fire, but that's okay. I would take the chance here. I'll have to look up like Gausman's BVP numbers and stuff versus the
right
Yankees
here.
and everything.
You want to hear?
Yeah, how are they look? Yeah.
Well, it's not as big, like, it's not as many players as you would think on this list. It's Judge, Sanchez, Gardner, Romine, Torreyes, and Didi. Now, the sample sizes for some of those players are decent. The most important guys are Aaron Judge and Sanchez. Obviously, Stanton was in the National League, so Gausman hasn't seen him yet, apparently. But Aaron Judge owns him. 6 for 12. I mean, it's a small sample. I'm not going to overreact, but 6 for 12 with 3 home runs. Damn. Okay. And then Gary the Goat, 4 for 13 with 1 home run. Brett Gardner, 13 for 40 with 1 home run. And then after that, it's kind of like, little stuff. Didi Gregorius is actually 8 for 30 with 0 home runs. But really, it seems like Judge and Gary the Goat, mainly Judge, are really the only ones that like were beforehand kind of afraid of. And especially because, like you said, Judge has been hot. But that's the BVP. What else you got?
Yeah, so I mean, even in that spot, I'll have to take a look at, like, maybe I can dig a little deeper on who was catching Gausman when those matchups were going on and everything. But I just think overall, whenever I have the chance to, like, leverage against the Yankees who are going to be popular, I'm always going to want to at least get a little piece of that just because it's such, like, a valuable thing if that goes off there. And then on the other side, CC going up against Baltimore. It's okay. It's kind of one of those spots where I don't know if I really want to pitch CC in this matchup. Baltimore's always a team that can be scary. I think they kind of got a little bit of a spark going today. I saw a couple guys have multi-hit games. I think Adam Jones hit pretty well today. I thought Trey Mancini had a couple nice at-bats. I was watching this game for a little bit, and it just takes a little bit for them to get going, and that's the last guy you want to pitch is CC and have him get blown up against Baltimore, and you'd be like, what was I doing? So I don't think I'm going to go there. As for the Baltimore bats, I think they're interesting going up against CC. They're going to go have a right-handed heavy lineup here tomorrow, and we know that Baltimore has definitely potential to put up a big run game. We'll have to get through the slate and everything, but I don't mind Baltimore here in a spot versus CC.
Yeah, man. I think I can't play CC. There's no way. The total's too high, and he's not quite cheap enough. Gausman's interesting. I am very afraid of Judge and Stanton and all those guys and Gary the Goat. I'm terrified. I started off the season trying to go against them, and it just didn't work out. But until Judge, I think it was Judge that started it off with that home run today. Like, Cashner was doing work against these guys. You know what I mean? So, like, we know it's possible. We know there are a lot of strikeouts here. If Caleb Joseph is catching, I don't think on FanDuel I could pull the trigger. But on DraftKings, maybe. If I'm playing, I'll probably be playing around 20 to 30 lineups. So, in that scenario, maybe I can have a tiny sprinkle of a guy like Gausman. And that's honestly, it's really only a price play. And it's only a price play if Caleb Joseph is catching. Something that I definitely forgot the last time Gausman played. But he's 5'6" on DraftKings, and this is going to be a slate where there's going to be some bats I'm sure we're going to want to pay up for. So I don't love Gausman, but I think I prefer Gausman over CC only because he is so much cheaper. He's over $2,000 cheaper than CC, and he's got way more K upside. So again, very, very light. I do like the Yankees bats. That'll be like one of the main plays for me because Gausman did not look good in this last start. I know Caleb Joseph wasn't starting, but this is a small park. The Yankees just have so much power. And then I'm with you on the Baltimore Orioles, man. They've started off the season terribly, and they just seem like slowly trying to chip away at that, and I'm willing to take a chance against CC. Manny Machado has really good career numbers against CC, 18 for 51 with 3 homers, and then Adam Jones actually has 5 home runs off of CC. He's 24 for 79. Not as high as an average per se, but I mean 5 home runs is something, and he had a home run today, so maybe he's waking up a little bit. So I'm with you, man. I think like pitching wise, maybe a tiny bit of Gausman, but I'm interested in both the bats here. I think obviously the Yankees are going to be pretty popular. So just keep that in mind. Next game we got, my man. We got Cincinnati visiting Pittsburgh. Luis Castillo. Last year, he's one of Wise Take's heroes. Last year was our boy. Visiting Trevor Williams of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Total is 8. Pittsburgh a 110 home favorite. What you got, Cam?
I love Luis Castillo, not specifically today, but just like in general. I think he's going to be a really good pitcher, and this year he's probably going to win Wise Take like a lot of money on one of these slates. This isn't the best matchup because Pittsburgh doesn't strike out all that much, although with his price on FanDuel at 7-1, I still have interest in him just because he does have really good stuff, and he can strike out pretty much anyone he wants if he's going that day. So although he's going up against a team that doesn't strike out that much, I believe in just like his pure pitching ability and his stuff that he has. So I'm willing to take a shot on him. The 30% K percentage versus right-handed bats, 24 versus lefties. Advanced numbers look really good. I think his problem is that he just happens to give up like about a home run a game or a home run or two a game. And it's nice because you can get him a game where he'll like give up 1 home run or 2 home runs and it'll be a solo shot and he'll have like 9 strikeouts. So that doesn't really hurt you that much, especially at his price. And in this matchup against Pittsburgh, I'm not too worried about them like piling on base runners and him giving up like a 3-run shot here. I think if he does give up a home run, it'll be like a 1 or 2-run shot here. It's going to be really cold. It's 40 degrees. Although there are 12 miles per hour wind blowing to left, but that's not too concerning for me. So I definitely have interest in Castillo. I think Pittsburgh will throw a bit of a left-handed heavy lineup, which downgrades him a little bit for me with like Polanco and Josh Bell and Corey Dickerson all batting lefty, which are pretty good left-handed bats. But I would give Castillo a hard look, especially I like his price on FanDuel at 7-1. For the other side, Trevor Williams is kind of a pitcher that I like to take bats against, not necessarily full stacks because his numbers aren't super terrible against each hand, although I think right-handed bats have a little bit better of a spot here. He gave up more damage to right-handed bats than he did left-handed bats last year, so he's a reverse splits guy. Gives up 34% hard contact to right-handed bats and 23% hard contact to left-handed bats. So I think if you're going to want to take a shot here on someone, it'll be like a Eugenio Suarez. For me personally, I think obviously every time the Reds play, Joey Votto's in play as well. But for me, it would be like a one-off with Suarez for the Reds. I have interest in pitching Castillo. And then you could take a one-off if you're not on the Castillo train with a left-handed bat for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I did double check with Trevor Williams on FanGraphs, and he actually wasn't really reverse split. See, he is kind of neutral. It's more of a neutral. It's not that significant of a difference. But it looks like he last year in 2017 a 322 WOBA to lefties and a 297 to righties. So there's really not a significant difference. There is a significant difference in his K per 9. It's somewhere in the 6s to lefties and in the 7s to righties. So it does make a difference there. That alone is probably going to get me to lean towards, like you said, the Cincinnati bats and mainly the lefties. I'm with you. This park is not great. The weather is going to be cold again, about 40 degrees. Going to be some overcast. So I'm not crazy about too many bats here. I think this is a situation where, like, if we were doing stacks of 5s and 3s or whatever we were doing, maybe they're one of the 3s, right? Like, maybe even less. Yeah. Maybe even a one-off that you mix in or a couple. So I don't mind taking a couple of these guys. They are going to throw a lot of lefties. I'm hoping that Scott Schebler should be back in the lineup. He's projected to be back. So if that's the case, they're going to have a ton of lefties to throw at this kid. And I'm going to be interested in taking at least a couple of them. It's just the park is scary. But speaking of the park, though, I love Luis Castillo in this spot. He didn't look very good in his first game. I know the Pirates don't strike out a ton, but we're getting it. Yeah, he didn't look good in his first game.
That first game because it was like a really crappy slate. Yeah. It was like an early slate with like 4 games. It was one of those like afternoon slates with like 3 teams or 4 teams, and I was like, please get blown up. please get blown up.
He did.
Just saw.
There were also weird circumstances. I think like he had something going on in his personal life, and like he had left and came back, and that was just that was the first time. He had something going on though. I think. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I expect him to kind of right the ship. I'm a little surprised that he's actually an underdog. That concerns me a little bit. That Vegas seems to think that the Pirates should be favored in this spot. But yeah, man, Luis Castillo. I know he's expensive on FanDuel. You're getting a steal, but we played this kid in Great American Small Park. Like I'm definitely gonna like him at Pittsburgh in a huge ballpark. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you, man. The only thing that can get us into trouble if he starts getting wild. That's where he starts getting problems. When his pitch counts get elevated, when he starts throwing too many balls. Then all it takes is one mistake and he's done. So hopefully that's not the case. But for now, we're going to put Luis Castillo to the side because I do like that. And then the usual suspects, Billy Hamilton, Joey Votto, Scooter, all the lefties are fine. But I'm with you. I don't want to take too many. I don't think this is a team that I want like a full 5-man stack of or a 4-man stack. I don't think I can. It's just too big of a park. There's too many other games with better spots. Let's move over to one of them. I'm talking about Toronto at Texas. Total here is 10. Texas, a 105 home favorite. It's Marco Estrada visiting everybody's favorite pitcher, Matt Moore. Just kidding, obviously. What you got here, man?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna pitch Estrada tomorrow. This is gonna be more of a game where I take the hitters. Is there really 23 miles per hour to right?
I just saw that. I'm seeing the same. I'm seeing rain and breezy. Temperatures 56, precipitation 63%. So we might have some weather, but yeah, I'm seeing 23 mile an hour winds blowing out to right field. We're gonna have to confirm that tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, do not play any of these pitchers tomorrow. This is
gonna
be a game.
It makes sense, dude, because that weather is not like Texas is an okay ballpark for hitting, but when the weather's like cold, but when it's hot, that's when it becomes like the hitter's park. It needs to be hot.
Yeah.
And it's not hot yet. You know what I'm saying? So the humidity will be up, but like I think the wind is probably accurate because the total is 10. That's a really high total for a team like Texas who haven't really been hitting very much. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So that's telling right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have to look into this as well, but there's a stream at Texas's stadium where like if the wind's blowing into right, it like pushes the ball out like extra towards left, or like vice versa. If it's blowing in from left, or if it's blowing in from left, then it blows out extra to right or something. So I'll have to look into that tomorrow as well. Those are all things that we'll get going on the Y stream tomorrow. But you're gonna have to look at both these teams for the bats. Marco Estrada is a guy who gives up damage to both sides of the plate. He gives up more. It looks like in advanced numbers that he would be expected to give up more versus right-handed bats than lefties, but I think the splits are kind of similar here. Home runs per 9 about even, both versus both sides. And he's a guy that his hard contact's kind of misleading because to begin with, he doesn't throw very hard, and second of all, he uses a lot of off-speed. So those numbers are going to be skewed. He's a really big fly ball pitcher, over 50% to righties, and left-handed bats just under 50%. So that's a really bad combination for a guy who's pitching in a ballpark that's going to be 23 miles per hour. So you can definitely look at a lot of these Rangers bats. Don't be afraid to target guys who are extreme ground ball hitters as well, because they're going to get a boost with the fly ball pitcher in play. Also, Matt Moore is a guy that you're going to definitely want to target on a daily basis in DFS. He's bad versus both sides of the plate as well. Actually gives up a lot of damage to left-handed bats too. So I'll look into some of his pull numbers and everything as well. But the wind's blowing out to right, so that definitely favors left-handed bats versus him. I think you could look at Smoke. Donaldson is obviously in play. And this is just like, this projected lineup is all righties.
I was going to say, the Blue Jays are pretty much all righties. They got Granderson and some of those guys, but they're all platoons. So yeah, they got enough righties that they'll probably see all righties here.
Yeah, he's going to go up against all righties, it looks like. So yeah, you can fire up the Blue Jays, and you can fire up the Rangers bats as well. It's going to be a high scoring game, I would assume.
Yeah, I think Vegas is indicating that to us. Matt Moore is a guy that we know is an extreme fly ball pitcher, a terrible pitcher. He was able to hide in San Francisco in that huge ballpark, and he was bailed out a little bit. But things are going to be a little different for him in Texas. This was not a good career move for him to come here. I mean, he's getting that money, so whatever it is. But for a guy like him, I don't think this was good.
Whoever wants me.
Yeah, hey, you got to get paid, you got to eat. I respect it, but yeah, this was a rough one, man. He's obviously not too worried about his reputation, or maybe he just thinks he's a little better than he actually is. But yeah, I'm with you on the Blue Jays bats. Give me all the Blue Jays bats. I don't care that they've been a little inconsistent. It's worth a shot. Super high total. That wind's blowing out, and you got Matt freaking Moore on the mound in Texas, so I'll take that. As far as Estrada, I'm not going to pitch him. I just can't in that wind. And you're right. The splits for his career seem a little bit more neutral, with a slight lean towards a struggle towards righties. But if you look at last year, it was pretty significant. His wOBA last year, the entire season, was like 290 something to lefties and 360 something to righties. So the reason for that is, I believe Estrada's best pitch, I got to double check, but I believe his best pitch is a changeup. So that's a pitch that you can really only throw to lefties. You know what I'm saying? Like when you throw it across the plate. So it makes perfect sense. I can see it doesn't mean I don't want to take guys like Joey Gallo and some of these other dudes. It just means that I want to make sure I'm not ignoring the righties. And we know in this situation, everybody likes to take the platoon. So I expect Shin-Soo Choo, Joey Gallo, Mazzara, Odor, all these guys from Texas, the lefties, I expect to be not chalk, but like I expect people to go there. And I don't expect as many to stick with some of these right-handed bats. So I think the Texas, I'll play a couple of these lefties because I'm not gonna go all game theory here. A good play is a good play, and those guys are in good spots. But I don't want to ignore the righties here against Estrada. But yeah, this is definitely a great place to take the bats. I'm excited for Matt Moore to be pitching, man. It's like I'm excited that he's gonna be pitching in Texas. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, no, it's gonna be great. Did he pitch already this year?
Yeah. He did,
4 innings, 4 earned against Houston. Wow, I would have expected more than that, but they kept him on a tight leash before he could get the damage.
One thing I think people forget about Houston, and like Houston is a great offensive team, and I don't care if it's a lefty or a righty or whatever, but they are significantly better against right-handed pitching. They've always kind of been mediocre against lefties. They don't strike out. It's not like the Dodgers. It's not that bad. But they've never shown nearly as much power or run. So for them to put up 4 against Matt Moore, and they struggle against lefties, that tells you how bad Matt Moore is. How bad Matt Moore is, man.
Man.
Let's move on to this next one. We got to talk about your boys right here, man. So we got Kyle Hendricks of the Chicago Cubs visiting Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers. Over under is 9, and Milwaukee is a plus 120 home underdog. What you got?
Yeah, so this game is projected like 4-9 and 4-2 runs. I think this game goes under. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring of a game as Vegas seems right now. I like Brandon Woodruff. I'll have to look at how he pitched in San Diego the last time he was out. But I think he's a really talented pitcher. He's got really good stuff. Yeah, so he's pitched from the bullpen twice this year already. 2 innings, 1 strikeout. 1.1 innings, 2 strikeouts. So he's a guy who can rack up strikeouts. He has upside. He would be more of like an SP2 type guy for me on DraftKings, and dependent on how like deep you want to get with your bats and spend up, I guess you could go there on FanDuel. He's 5'6", which is really cheap. Could probably get whatever bat you want if you pitched him. He definitely has upside at 5'6" to get you there, trust me. And then on the other side for Kyle Hendricks against Milwaukee, Milwaukee is going to be a team that I'm not going to play until they do something. They're not a team that you want to chase runs for. Like they can go in streaks for like days of being really cold. This is not the type of pitcher that you really want to target them against. He's a guy who's very methodical with his pitches. He'll change speeds. He locates pretty well and everything. So I think the Brewers are going to have a tough time with him. I think he's in play as well on FanDuel. He's 8-2. DraftKings, he's a little more expensive, but I think he's definitely a viable option versus this really cold Brewers team. And I think if you want to take a shot on Woodruff, you can, because he's really cheap. Also, another thing why I think this game goes low, the Brewers and the Cubs actually have the first and second ranked bullpens in the National League right now in terms of like ERA and other numbers. So if you have the thought process of like going deeper than starting pitching, the matchups for the hitters aren't going to be as as great either when they get to the bullpen, which is why I just have interest majority in the hitters or the pitchers here. Sorry.
Yeah, this is interesting. Your Brew Crew, man, they strike out so much. Don't get me wrong, they are loaded with power, a lot of power, but they just strike out a ton. I just always had a weird thing with Kyle Hendricks, man. I don't know. Just like, don't get me wrong, the guy's decent. I just always had a weird thing with him. So, I got to put that behind me. This is DFS, right? We like money more than we like anything else, I guess. So, definitely consideration. And Woodruff is a kid that I don't really want to pick on, man. I was pretty big on the Cubs today. Unfortunately, I got everything else around him wrong. But I was pretty big on the Cubs today, and I felt good about that against Suter. But this Woodruff kid, I do think, is pretty talented and has got some stuff here. So, if I do, I will play some of the Cubs. I mean, they are projected for 4.9 runs. I don't want to completely ignore it. So I will play a couple here and there, and it's most likely going to be the lefties because I do respect this kid's stuff, especially against righties. So it'll probably be like the Rizzos, the Schwarbers, the Ian Happs, things like that. And Chris Bryant is an exception. I'll play him against anybody because he is just good at baseball. But for the most part, man, I'm with you. I think the pitching, and I think you can take a couple bats here. It's just there's more games that we got to talk about. There's more games on the slate. And we're running out soon, I guess. But, yeah, I think it's an interesting spot. The Cubs, Kyle Hendricks definitely played against Milwaukee. They've been striking out too much. We saw, what was it? Paulie had that call with the Cardinals pitcher, Flaherty. Dominated. C-Mart dominated. Lester dominated. Everybody's just coming in here, and they're just schooling your boys. By the way, in the chat, they're saying that Neville got hurt. I don't know. They're saying that you're going to freak out about it.
Oh, Knable?
Knable. Yeah, I don't know. Neville? What did I just call him? Neville, yeah. Knable. Apparently, he just got hurt. So,
what happened to him?
I don't know. But they're telling me that when Cam finds out, he's going to be pissed. So, I figured I would just tell you now. I'm like, hey, we're on air. Let's see if he gets mad. But let that settle in a little bit real quick.
Didn't he give up a bomb tonight anyway? So screw that guy.
I was going to say this. Let's say
Yes.
give up a home run, so I don't think Cam cares too much right now.
Go hit the pine, buddy.
Let's move on to this next game, bro. We got Luis Perdomo, the San Diego Padres, visiting Lance McCullers of the Houston Astros. Total here is 8.5. Houston a minus 270. Home favorite. What you doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. I remember Perdomo from last year. I don't think he's pitched yet this year, has he? Did they skip his start? Oh no, he has pitched. He pitched against my Brewers. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, I don't know. Not a guy that I really want to pitch here. Also, it doesn't seem like he's going to be a guy that I really want to play bats against. Just because he's a really extreme ground ball pitcher. Tries to limit hard contact and everything. So this is not like a matchup where I'm going to go gung-ho on Houston bats. I don't think it's like a spot where I really want to target them, especially on this slate where we've kind of already identified like a bunch of really good spots for hitters and everything. So I don't think I'll go too heavy on Houston bats tomorrow. If you want to, I think you could look at both sides of the plate against Perdomo. I would probably favor left-handed bats, but righties are still in play as well. And then on the other hand, McCullers, I've heard that he came into the season in really good form, and he kind of showed that against Texas his last outing. I think he had like double-digit strikeout stuff. Yeah, 10 Ks. He has really, really good numbers. He was a guy who I don't really know what happened last year, but he was like electric for like most of the year. And then he kind of got into a rut. I'm not sure if he was hurt or really what happened to him, but he seems like he is back on top of his game here, at least throughout spring. And then his last outing got hit on the ankle by a comebacker on Saturday, but stayed in the game. So I'm not too worried about it. The only thing that worries me about McCullers, which I just remembered looking at his first game log, is he's a guy that doesn't really go deep into games, I don't think, all that much. So that's always concerning, especially on DraftKings when you're paying 12.3K for the guy. That's a lot to only get like 5 innings. And then also considering on FanDuel, he's more reasonable price at 8.6, but you're also risking that quality start You're also risking the quality start, and if Houston doesn't get into a big lead, you might not get the win either. So that's a little risky there, but I think he's firmly in play against this Padres team, who shouldn't really do a whole lot against his stuff. So I like McCullers. I'm not going to target bats against him, and I think he's definitely a good pitching option.
Yeah, DraftKings is extremely expensive, and you're right. He's a guy that does not typically go deep into games because in the past he has got a little bit of issues with throwing balls, and so his pitch count would get up pretty quickly. He looked really, really good in that first start, and he still only went, I think, 5 innings or something like that. So that is something to consider. You're absolutely right, Cam. This is the Padres, a little bit of a better matchup, and he is home. So there's still some things going for him. I will have some exposure. I think in cash games on DraftKings, where you got to roster 2 pitchers, I think it's fine to go there because it is the Padres and it is McCullers. I think there's a solid floor there. But I'm with you, man, on a point per dollar basis. And obviously, point per dollar doesn't mean any, like, to my opinion, doesn't mean nearly as much as NBA, of course. But just from what you're paying, like, are you going to be able to afford the bats you want with McCullers in there? If you do, you're going to need a cheap guy to pair him with. That's it. But I think McCullers is definitely in play, even at that 12-3 price on a slate where there's not a lot of elite pitchers. He does seem to be somewhat safe, and I think that makes you feel a little good. So if you can find a cheap pitcher on DraftKings to pair him with, or you can find a cheap stack to throw him with, then I think it's fine. As far as Perdomo, you brought up a lot of really good points. I expect Houston to be one of the more popular stacks on the slate. For good reason, it's Houston. But one thing about Perdomo, man, that's actually pretty impressive. There's not much that's impressive about this kid. He doesn't really have a lot of K upside. He's like a 6K per 9 kind of guy. He has his games, but for the most part, it's not it. He actually has a really high walk ratio. Over the last 3 years, his walks have been like 2.82 in 2016 walks per 9, and then 3.57, extremely high. So he got a little control issue. What is impressive is his ground ball rate over the last 2 years. Like, the dude is just a straight ground ball pitcher, man. Last year, in 29 starts, he finished the season with a 61.8% ground ball rate. That's impressive, man. That's a lot of ground balls.
Yeah, definitely.
And then even the year before that, 2016, he finished with a 59%. So this guy is somebody. Now, in his first start, that didn't happen. He's got a 1-star sample size. He did not, he's against Milwaukee, and they were just popping the ball up every time. He's currently in that 1-game sample size, he's at a 33% ground ball rate. So that's not really his style. But if he gets back on his game and he goes back his way, you're going to see him get a lot of ground balls. That's just what he does. He's going to walk guys. He's going to do all these kind of things. But I think for Houston, instead of a full stack, which I think will be popular, I think I prefer to kind of pick my spots. And I think you can do that here. When you have ground ball pitchers, I think it was you, Cam, who was talking to me the other day about taking fly ball pitchers against a ground ball hitter because the ball, the bat's going to get through the zone. Ball's typically low, they swing up, so it's usually a good sign to get the ball in the air. So I think I want to pick my spots. I don't really have necessarily the guys that I want in front of me, but I want to go through and I want to check FanGraphs and I want to see which one of these guys hit the most fly balls, because those are the guys I'm going to want to take against Perdomo. You take a ground ball hitter against Perdomo, don't be surprised if he hits the ball on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably going to happen. It's just but yeah, man, I think McCullers, a couple of the Astros are fine. I think they'll be popular, and that's it for me. That's really, I'm not going to go too heavy on the Astros. It's going to be very popular, and Perdomo gets it on the ground.
If you're taking a ground ball hitter against a ground ball pitcher like that, you're pretty much rostering a hitter who's going to hit the ball like 3 out of 4 times on the ground. And then that one time that gets up in the air, like, you better hope that
it's a home run.
Yeah.
You gotta hope it's a home run. The average home run to fly ball ratio in the MLB is 12%. That's all I'm going to say. So of those 4 at bats, you're hoping that one ball is one of that 12% that goes over that fence. That's what you're hoping for to take a ground ball pitcher here. So just keep that in mind, ladies and gents. Let's move on to this next game, Cammy. We got the Oakland Athletics visiting the Los Angeles Angels. Daniel Gassett visiting Parker Bridwell. Total here is 9. The Angels a 145 home favorite. The Angels definitely much improved offensively, at least to start. They don't even have Kinsler. He only played like 1 game before he got hurt again. But they're looking pretty good with Kozart, who had a walk-off home run the other day, his first of his career, which is surprising. But talk to me, man. What do you got here?
Yeah, this is like an interesting game for me that I'll definitely have to like look into more, because Gossett is like a guy who he's like a really big ground ball pitcher, obviously, and he's going up against a team in the Angels who are just like white hot. It's going to be 71 degrees, winds blowing out. And this is a big ballpark, but it's still it's scary to like. I usually don't roster teams against like a extreme ground ball pitcher, but the Angels are just playing so well right now. It's tough to like just cross them off. So I think they're definitely in play tomorrow. I'll have to look into it a little bit more to see what my interest is in them, but definitely like 1 through 5 I think are in play, and you can even take a shot on like Valbuena if you want. And about this like Otani guy, he's actually kind of impressed me a little bit at the plate. I actually thought he would be like, for me, from what I looked at when I was researching, it seemed like he was going to be a better pitcher. Obviously, there's like a very small sample size so far, but I did not expect him to like come into the league and already have 2 home runs. So that's pretty impressive for him. On the other side, I think the A's bats are in play, although I'm not sure how much I'll look into them. Parker Bridwell is a guy who I think I would probably target left-handed bats more than righties against. So I think you can look at like Matt Joyce and Olson as would be my top targets here for the A's. But just at first look, I don't have a whole like bunch of interest in like an A's stack. I think it would be more of like one-offs with the power hitters for Oakland. So I think you could go like Matt Olson, Chris Davis, and Matt Joyce.
Oh yeah, man, this is definitely a game that I think, for good reason, a lot of people might kind of cross off and just kind of ignore. But we got 2 pitchers that really give it up, man. Like we do. Like, this should be a pretty good spot for hitters. The only thing that sucks is it's obviously the Angels. It's in the Angels ballpark, which we know is notorious for being large and favorable for pitchers. But I mean, I'll go here. Daniel Gassett gives it up to everybody. I mean, he don't discriminate. Lefties, righties, it don't matter. Everybody gets a piece. So I'm cool with taking these Angels. And you're right. This Otani guy has been impressive. He's got some power. He's not, he's not just a power thrower. He's a power hitter. It's pretty, pretty legit, man. He's a big dude. He's got some talent. So I like the entire Angels offense. Like this could be one of those spots on both sides. I think I lean towards the Angels. I mean, it's not a hot take. They're projected for 4.9 runs, which is obviously one of the higher ones on the slate, and they got a matchup with Daniel Gassett. So I lean towards the Angels. I think they're obviously more talented with Cozart, Trout, Upton, Pujols. And when Kinsler comes back, they're going to be looking pretty good, man. So I'm cool with them, and I'm cool with some A's bats. The A's have been really screwing me lately. Like they've been, even when they score runs, they're doing it in a non-productive way for DFS.
Yeah.
They're doing it in such a lazy, little by little, very minimalistic way. And like Cash said on the podcast last night, when we're looking for stacks, while it's okay, like on a small slate, on a 3-game slate, I'm okay with taking a stack that I think might single him to death if I'm concerned that there's no bats here. If I'm concerned that the other stacks are all going to suck too, I'm okay with picking like the Pirates and hoping that they double and single and triple them to death. But if it's a larger slate, if there's options, I don't want that shit. I want home runs. I want the guys that are going to go out there. I want 4 guys, 5 guys that are going to all hit dongs. You know what I'm saying? I want some grand slams. I want all the good stuff. I want the upside. And so that's my issue with the Oakland A's. They're not showing me that. I'm not seeing the upside. All these guys have power. Chris Davis, Matt Olson, even Cash Game Porn, Jed Lowry, as Patio Joe likes to go, Matt Joyce. These are all guys that have power. They went out and got Chapman. They went out and got Piscotty. Chapman has power. Lucroy has power. But they're not showing it to us. We got to see it. So maybe I'll have a sprinkle. If you're doing 20 to 30 lineups, you're going to have room to take some of these off the board kind of guys. So maybe I'll have a sprinkle, but I definitely lean towards the Angels side. The Angels are showing it to me. The A's haven't. But I will say this is definitely a spot where I think I'm going to have to take some of these bats, man. It's one of the nicer weather. It's one of the nicest weather on the slate. Pretty high total here. And I expect it to have a little bit less ownership than some of these other spots that we just talked about. We got one last game here, Cammy, and it's a game with a little bit of weather. We got Kenta Maeda of the Los Angeles Dodgers visiting Derek Holland, another newcomer for the Giants. I know Derek Holland sucks, but you know what? I don't know who sucks worse, Derek Holland or the Dodgers against lefties. I'm sorry, Joe. It is pathetic. I mean, they've been bad against everybody, but I mean, they've been historically really bad against lefties, at least over these last couple of years. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little, but they're pretty bad against lefties, man. But the total we got here is 8, and San Francisco Giants are a plus 125 home underdog. What are you doing here, man? Oh, real quick, let me just give you the weather take. It looks like 59 degrees, 79% chance of precipitation. All it says is rain. So, what you got?
Okay. Yeah, this is weird, dude. Like, I was interested to see how the loss of Turner in this Dodgers lineup was going to be, and I thought it might hurt them a little bit, but I didn't think it was going to hurt them like that much. Like they've been struggling really bad. He's obviously their anchor in their lineup. That doesn't need to be explained, but I didn't think they would be doing this bad. But they get a really good matchup versus Derek Holland. Just going to make you want to look at them again. And it's going to be interesting because it's like such a good matchup, but they've also been playing so bad. So it's one of those things where I might just like stay away from it until they show me what they can do. But it's also a scenario where it's like, this is such a bad pitcher and you don't want to miss a chance to capitalize on a Derek Holland outing. It's going to be in San Francisco though, against a team that's struggling to produce runs and kind of produce power. So that's kind of a boost down for me. I don't think the Dodgers are going to be one of my highest targeted teams. I think you can look at guys like Chris Taylor and Yasiel Puig would be my favorites. And then at the bottom, I think you could get like a cheaper Matt Kemp, who's also in play. Although this is a big ballpark, so the power numbers are a little bit out there because it's going to be a longer poke to get one out. On the other side, with who would have thought like who would have thought like the last slate I played that the frickin' Giants team was gonna be the stack that won.
Johnny
I was on Brandon Belt, but I did not have any Crawford. I didn't have any Georges Hernandez or any of that.
You didn't have Kung Fu Panda? Johnny told us, yo. He told us the deal that night. No ideas. Shout out to Johnny. That was sick. I gotta give the man props.
I apologize, that was a nice call. Johnny. I was a doubter on that one.
Oh, doubter. We laughed at him, literally. So, hey, man. Listen, bro, if he's right, the freak does freak things, man. They call him the freak for a reason, bro.
Yeah. Don't mess with the freak. He'll freak on you. Yeah, man. I don't know, though. I don't think, like, this Giants lineup is going to be a lineup that you're going to really want to target for DFS. Me personally, there's just not a lot of upside in them, so I'll be avoiding them. You could take maybe a couple one-offs as like an option in your player pool tomorrow if you'd want. I would go with a lefty specifically, and maybe a guy like Belt again, or Joe Panic, and maybe a Brandon Crawford. But these guys are not like sexy DFS options. Let me look at some of the. Okay, so yeah, I think the lefties are in play as like one-off options, but not a whole ton of interest in this game, honestly. Just in general.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game regardless. I mean, I would like to take Dodgers because I would love to attack Derek Holland, but they got to show me they can hit lefties, man. They still haven't shown me. Patrick Corbin just made a fool out of those dudes, man. I mean, it was awesome for us, those of us that played him, but he made him look real bad. And like Derek Holland is not on Corbin's level. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing apples to oranges here, but that was in Arizona, a hitter's park. Now they're going to be in San Francisco, a pitcher's park. So I'd like to. I just don't. I don't know. They got to show it to me. I'll probably have a sprinkle again because they do have guys that are here to hit these guys. They got Kike, obviously. Chris Taylor can hit lefties. We're supposed to be able to. Matt Kemp. They brought him back for a reason, right? Like, come on, start hitting some lefties. Logan Forsythe. You specifically were brought here to hit lefties because in Tampa all you could hit was lefties. You have been absolute shit since you've come to the Dodgers. What happened? He was hitting home runs in Tampa, no problem, man. Came to LA, he's been dog shit. And now he went from a guy that he was leading off in Tampa Bay. This dude's like, he can't get above like batting 7th nowadays. That's how bad he's been. So I'm going to have some in the hope, just because I think they'll be low owned, in the hopes, but I'm with you. It's not, I can't do a full stack of this. I just can't. Like maybe I take a couple spots if I'm left with something or if I need to, but I can't. And then on the Giants side, I know they just went off. It was great. Like, shout out to Johnny. Nice call. The Giants ended up being the stack of the night. But it's Kenta Maeda. And even when Kenta Maeda is not there, it's going to be a good Dodger bullpen. I just don't think I want to, like I just don't see tournament winning upside on the Giants. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
These guys in the chat are hilarious, dude.
Oh, what are they saying now?
CK and Cash. Or John goes, we need a hair down podcast. CK and Cash, hair flowing.
Oh, that's funny.
That would be a pretty cool podcast.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that. Maybe
We'll call
like
it the
maybe
Long Hair Don't Care podcast.
let's do. You guys could do like a hair down wise stream
Hair
on
down
Friday.
live stream. No, I don't know,
Hey.
man. I don't know. There might be too much hair for one. I don't think the nation could take that, man. Yo, I let my head down. Forget about it, man. Forget about it. Dude's gonna have dreams about me, and like it's fine. Like I don't hate if that's the way you do things, but I'm just warning you, man. I got an effect on it. It happens. So
Dude's gonna have dreams about me.
I don't think the nation's ready, my man. I really don't, man. When I get the flocks going, Joe knows. Joe knows what I'm talking about. Joe's seen it, but the locks are. That's something that's tucked away. That's for the wife right there.
It's
that's
tucked away
what
for a reason, right?
Tucked away for a reason. That's for the wife, man. I gotta keep it toned down. This is YouTube. I'm the public eye, man. I can't be getting people going crazy. I'm here to talk DFS. I'm not here for that kind of stuff. I'm here for DFS. So, I'm keeping the distractions out, because once it comes down, bro, forget about it. That's it. It's just mesmerizing. It comes down. Nobody's listening to what I'm saying. They're just looking at the locks, and I'm telling you.
And it's just over. They're
It's
not
over.
getting any of the content.
It's over. Slate breaker, Cam. Slate breaker. Come on.
Slate breaker, man.
Awesome,
really
man. That's going to do it for the game-by-game breakdown. So at this point, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't already, check us out at whitesake.com. I don't know what the hell you are waiting for. The nation is hotter than ever. We just had a member win $15,000 the other night. Before that, our boy D Millie, another Whitesake member, won $4,500. We got people winning every day. Those are just the significant MLB wins. I know I've had some top 20 finishes, like at least 4 in the last 5 or 6 days. Cam, I know you've been killing it, man. Your articles. There was the one article that I forgot to publish, but the ones that I did remember to publish were also really, really good. Johnny the Greek's calling Pablo Sandoval home runs. Johnny the Greek is calling Pablo Sandoval Kung Fu Panda home runs. It's just a wild, wild time. Paulie D won a G in the NBA the other night. In the NBA, he won a grand. It's just, the nation is just hot.
Yep.
You need to come aboard. You need to come do your thing. We're still rocking out with NBA. We got MMA this weekend. We got a lot of great stuff going on. We cover multiple stories. We got MMA this weekend. The return of MMA's been off. Which is pretty controversial. I want to talk to Wig Splitter, because I know the card just got screwed up today. Did you hear what happened with Conor McGregor?
Yeah, he's going to jail or something.
He went wild. He showed up at the weigh-in thing, and he started throwing stuff at him and his whole crew started throwing stuff at the bus. They broke windows. Another fighter ended up getting hurt from glass. He was supposed to fight this weekend. His boy got pulled off the card. Wig was telling me three fights got scratched or something like that. So I know I'm gonna play some MMA. I do enjoy it. I play that's the sport that I like to play for fun. So I'm gonna play that, and I'm going to I'm excited to see Wiggy's article, but I know Wiggy's gonna take care of it. I'm fine in his hands. That dude knows his stuff. But aside from that, we got NASCAR with Cash and DFS. Golf just passed the Masters. Hopefully you guys didn't miss that boat, because I know Cash was really excited about the Masters. It's just a great time to come join the Whitesake Nation. And you know what? If you want to try us out, if you're not sure what we're all about, $2.50 gets you access of MLB content for an entire day. An entire day of MLB content. That's articles. That's the chat. With the chat is the best, hands down, feature of the Whitesake Nation. It's the members. Yeah. The Whitesake Nation is the best part of the Whitesake Nation. We do live streams.
There's always people in the chat.
Always people in there trying to make money.
I'll pop in there a little bit, and there's always a good number of people in there just talking about any slate you want. You can click the MLB tab. There's people in there. NBA tab. Freaking golf, MMA, you can look. There's always people in there, so it's crazy.
We're always strategizing on how to take over the DFS world, Pinky and the Brain style, all day. That's what we do. And then, of course, so we got live streams 7 days a week. We got cheat sheets. We got it all, man. Just come check us out. $2.50. No excuses. No excuses. Anyway, Cam, let's do some Dong Watch here, bro. I tried to come up with a new name for that, but it just didn't happen. The other names I got just weren't edgy enough, and some of them were a little too grotesque, so we just got stuck with it. Dong Watch it is. And we are going to go. We're going to do things a little bit differently today. Instead of a first base, third base, outfield, let's pick the more crappy positions. So let's try, on FanDuel, with them getting rid of the catcher first base thing, that kind of ruins this part, because it used to be fun. Catcher, second base, and shortstop. Those are the 3 positions where it's a little harder. But FanDuel obviously got rid of catcher, so it makes it kind of weird. So you know what? Forget. For now, we'll have to stick with the first, third, and outfield. That's what we're going to have to do. Is what it is. First, third, and outfield. So you can pick. We've been doing something a little bit different, though. You don't have to pick a first baseman first. You can pick whatever position you want first to get it out the way. So you get the first pick, Cammy. Who you got?
It's like a snake draft, so we can get strategic here.
You can get all strategic and stuff, yeah.
Let's look. First of all, I'm gonna just click on this Texas game.
Yeah, I was gonna have to, the same thing I did. I just scrolled right to that Texas game.
That's all I have to do. And let's take a peek. Oh boy, this is gonna be interesting, dude. This game's gonna be wild.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Let's go. So I can pick outfield, third, or first.
Or first base, yeah. The big power spots.
Oh boy. Let's go. I'll go Donaldson at third.
Yeah, I knew you couldn't resist. I was there. It was going to be Donaldson or Smoke is what I was thinking. I was like, which one is going to go with? Yeah, so he can't resist Donaldson. I'll go with Smoke. I got to take, if Donaldson don't do it, Smoke will. One of them dudes is going yard. Who you got next?
Then for outfield, let me take a peek here. Let's go Shin-Soo Choo.
Shin-Soo Choo, okay.
For 3 home runs in a row.
Oh my God, that guy's been on fire. I'm going to take my third baseman. I'm going to go with Manny Machado against CC. He's just got some good history. I'm going to give that a try. So what's that? So I got a first and a third, and you got an outfielder and a third, right? So you need a first baseman now. Yeah,
I need a first baseman. Let's go Matt Olson.
Matt Olson, okay, I like that. A little off the board, decent spot. We know that kid's got a tremendous amount of power. So
you know what the cheat code would be here, right?
What's that?
Let's see if you take him.
What, the cheat code for what?
For first baseman.
I already got a first baseman. I can't take him. I took Smoke.
Oh, you can't even take him. Okay.
No. Who's the guy?
I was thinking Joey Gallo with 23 miles per hour.
Oh yeah, blowing out to right field. Yeah. No, that is true. That is really true.
He might hit like a 550-foot bomb. Yeah. Like over the stadium.
He's gonna do what he always does. He's gonna go 1 for 4. His home run is gonna be about 1,000 freaking feet, and then he's gonna strike out the other 3 times. that's what he's gonna do. Yeah. That's just what Joey Gallo does.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's got to. I'm pretty sure that he struggles strikeout wise. He strikes out a lot against changeups. But he strikes out a lot against everything. He's just all or nothing. He's just home run or nothing. Dude swings for the fences every time he's up. And that's why, as a DFS player, we love the guy. So I got to pick an outfielder, I think. And I'm going to stick in that same game. I would like to go with Steve Pearce because that dude mashes lefties. I just don't know for sure if he's going to play because they got a couple other guys now. I think he's going to play, but I don't know. I know Grichuk will, but I still prefer Pearce because I think he's a little cheaper. He's like 2.8 on DraftKings. I could really get down on that.
So he's 2-2 on FanDuel too. That's a really good point out there. I think that was sharp.
So I want to play him. I'll go with him, hoping he plays and just get a little off the board. But it's still, I'd rather have a guy that's, I'd rather have a no-name dude that's in this spot against Matt Moore. I'll take it.
yeah, exactly, dude.
There we go.
Can't go wrong there.
Can't go wrong there. Not against Matt Moore in Texas. That's going to do it for the Wise Take DFS podcast. Appreciate y'all joining. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and share to support the Wise Take Nation. If you are watching us on Twitch, give us a follow over there. Tell your friends about us, man. Let's get some Twitch exposure. I'd love to be able to hop up on Twitch and see a bunch of people there. Just like we do for YouTube, just like we're starting to do for Facebook. I want to go onto Twitch and see a bunch of people watching the Wise Take Nation. All these motherfuckers playing video games and stuff like that. I want them to be playing video games, watching other video gamers, and then come in and see what the Wise Take Nation has to say. Because we're the ones trying to win you some money, man. You know what I mean? And then, obviously, if you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. And if you're listening on iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. All that stuff really helps us out. It allows us to keep doing the show for you guys for free every night that we do it. Cam, closing thoughts for the nation.
I think the last couple of days I've been Joe's like stress relief, man. He's just taking out his stress on me on the Wise stream the other day. Just a little stress on the Brewers. He was like, "Oh, you tweeted this and that." Now in the chat, calling me the human rain delay. Just taking it out on me. But that's okay. If I can be his outlet for stress, then we can do it.
That's what it is, man. Hey, man, you're his oldest son. You know, he's got a vet. He's got 2 new ones, bro. My man's got 3 kids. Like he just had twins. He's got 3 kids. He just had twins. He got 4, including you. He's got to take it out on you. You're the older, responsible one, man. You got to just take the punches from some Patio. Speaking of Patio Joe made his return to the Wise stream. It wasn't today, it was yesterday, but if you're listening to this tomorrow, it was yesterday. Anyway, point is, on Friday, he will be on the Wise stream. So tomorrow's Wise stream, we will have Patio Joe and Cashin DFS. And hopefully Paulie D. I'm pretty sure Paulie D as well. We will see if he's free, and if not, it'll be myself. But we're going to have a nice little stacked Y stream tomorrow. Patio Joe on the hosting, CK013 and DFS on the expert chair, of course. And it'll be either myself or Paulie probably as a third. So it's going to be a great, great show. Y stream is the private live stream that only our members have access to. Like I said, $2.50. You get access to that, articles, cheat sheets, chat, everything. So come do it. Don't waste no time. So for KamG333, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, and you, Patio Joe, because you in the chat rocking with us tonight. Good luck.
Yeah.